What's up, y'all, and welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to do some speed reviews. These are all of the products that I have thoroughly tested and I am ready to give you my actual final thoughts on, and we've got a good little amount of products to get through. But if you are new here, hello and welcome. I am so happy that you are here. The way that I do my speed reviews is I split these products up into 3 different categories. The first category is going to be misses. It's exactly what it sounds like, products that just didn't hit the mark. I'm not really reaching for them. They are not favorites. For whatever reason, they fell a little bit flat, and they will probably eventually make their way out of my collection. The next category is going to be products that they're okay. They're not bad, but they're just not great. They're not anything that I'm overly excited about. I'm reaching for over and over, and they're products that I will get use out of, but I probably would not repurchase them in the future. And the last category is going to be products that I've absolutely been loving. These have been products that I have wanted to reach for over and over, products that I'm so happy to have in my collection. I would love to repurchase in the future, and ones that I would love to pick up more shades if they are available. These aren't necessarily holy grails. They may be eventually, but for now they are products that I love and I recommend to y'all. I will have every single product that we discussed linked and listed down below in the description box, as well as what is on my face. I did film this as a short here on YouTube and a reel over on Instagram. It should already be up by the time you see this, but if not, everything I'm wearing will be down that description box as well. Also, keep in mind that a lot of this comes down to preference. I try and give you the facts as well and kind of take a little bit of my objective and my opinion out of it, but at the same time, it is my preference. It's how it works on my skin. I am 39 years old. I have normal skin. I live in a very hot, humid climate. I'm down here in Houston, Texas, and generally I prefer a medium to light coverage foundation and something that is more on the natural side. I do not like matte makeup at all. I don't mind something a little bit glowy, but my perfect spot is right down the middle with a natural finish. But now that we have all that out of the way, let's go ahead and jump into the first category. All right, so let's go ahead and kick this off with the misses. There's not a whole lot of products in this category, but we do have a few to get through. So up first is the e.l.f. Stay Cool Primer Stick. I was excited about this one. It is supposed to be cooling and soothing on the skin, but this is a nasty, greasy mess. So it's this really cool stick form. It does feel nice and cooling on the skin. It feels very lightweight, but when you go, I don't know why I'm showing all this because you can't feel it, but when you start to like spread it out with your hands, it just feels greasy and just gross. It never sinks into the skin. I have let this sit for like 10 minutes and it still never sinks into the skin. And when I go to put my foundation on over top, it just kind of slips and slides. It never allows the foundation to mesh into my skin and become one with it, and it just turns into like a nasty, greasy mess. Not a fan of it. There's several primers I love from e.l.f., but that one did not hit the mark. From Bare Minerals, we had the Complexion Rescue Bronzer. Now, this is a liquid form of their powder bronzers that they have. They also came out with a liquid form of their blush lighters as well. I didn't pick that one up. I just picked up this one, and I'm assuming that the formula is probably going to be the same. Now, this does look very pretty on the skin. I like the glow of it. I like the sheen. I like that little bit of color that it adds, but it never dries down. It stays sticky on the skin, and if you wear your hair down, it's going to stick to it. And the other problem is that if you put this on and you try to powder over top of it, it is so sticky that the powder just grabs in patches and it doesn't look very good. So as much as I want to love this, I just don't. If you don't mind a sticky cheek, which I can't imagine you do, but if you do, you do. Everybody has their preferences. If you don't mind a sticky cheek, you might like this, but for me, it's an absolute no. Don't waste your money on it. It is way too pricey for what you get. There are other liquid formulas out there that are just as beautiful, and we are going to get to in just a minute. The next one that we have is from Odin's Eye. This is the Solmane Sunlight Love Highlighter. This is in the shade Star Legend, and this is just a bunch of glitter that goes around on your face. I used this in the video trying it on in the collection. I have tried using it a couple of times since, even on my eye, and it's just way too glittery, way too gritty. I don't like it. It's not very smooth, it's not very pretty, and even when you put it on the cheek, it just looks like straight glitter on the cheek. So unfortunately, this one is a complete miss for me. I don't recommend that one either. The next one that we have is from Essence. This is the Lash Princess Liner. This is their waterproof, and I actually just tried this one out, but I didn't like it right off the bat, and I will not reach for it again. I had showed y'all in that video that if you go in light-handed like you normally would on your eye, you get like no color payoff, but if you really press down, you get this really dark, thick black line. It looks absolutely beautiful, but I'm not into putting that much pressure on my eye. I'm not trying to poke it out. I already have bad vision to begin with. So this one is another big fat no for me as well. But Essence does have like 1,000,001 liquid liners, so I may pick up another one and try that out and see if I can find a good one in the line, because they are super affordable and I have really been enjoying a lot of the other products. The last one in this category is going to be the Maybelline Firework Waterproof Mascara. I really wanted to love this, but y'all, this dried out pretty quickly and it just kind of turned into like a nasty mess. I haven't had it that long, but you can see how crusty the outside already looks. And even the product in here, since it's been open for like what, maybe a month now at this point, it's dried out. It doesn't want to go on my lashes like it did when I first got it. It wants to clump up. It wants to flake off throughout the day. So it's not a matter of I don't like the way that this behaves on my lashes. It just didn't last very long. This dried out really, really quick. And I know it's more affordable, but then I have to weigh my options of purchasing one of these every single month for, what is it, like $14.99 or something like that? I can't remember the price. I'll put it up here because I want to make sure I'm accurate, but buying one of these at that price for every single month, or buying something that's a little bit more expensive or even a little less expensive and having that one last me 3 months. So this one, I'm not a fan of, for the purposes of the fact that the formula just doesn't last very long. Okay, so moving on to our next category, these are the products that are just okay. They didn't quite hit the mark. They could have been a little bit better, but they're also not bad. And some of this does come down to makeup preferences as well. So let's go ahead and start off with this one from Ritual Defee. This is the Creature of Light Full Face Serum Illuminator, and I do really enjoy this. I like the color of it. It has this really pretty like purple sheen to it. Absolutely beautiful, very unique. I like the way that this looks under my makeup. I like the way that this sits under my makeup, but it's one of those that if I try and mix it in with a foundation or use it over top as a highlighter, it just does not work. So mixing it with a foundation, I don't know, it does something to the formula where it just doesn't perform the way that I want it to. I've experienced it with several different foundations that I've tried it with, so I don't like to mix it in. But then if I try and use it as a highlighter, whether I'm tapping it, using a brush, using a sponge, it lifts the product underneath. So while this is very beautiful as like illuminator on its own under your makeup, it's a little bit pricey for something that you can't use in multiple different ways. It does smell really good though, and I do like the color of it. From MAC Cosmetics, we have the Strobe Dewy Skin Tint. This is beautiful. I love the way this looks on my skin. I'm actually wearing it today. It is very glowy, but it's not metallic-y, so it's not going to give you like a Tin Man effect. I did bring out the original strobe cream so I could show you what it looks like, because it is definitely like the strobe cream and a skin tint got together and had a baby. This is what you would get. So I'm going to show you what this looks like on the back of my hand, and while I do that, I'm going to tell you what I don't like about this, what my flaw is, because I love the way that it looks on my skin. It sits really beautiful. It has this really pretty glow to it, so that's what it looks like on the back of my hand. The shade is a little bit too dark for me, but like I said, this looks beautiful, and if I put a powder on over top, it just has this really pretty sheen through it. So I'm not a big fan of wearing it on its own. It can be a little bit too much, but my problem with this one is it does not hold up to extreme heat. So it's really hot down here in Texas. We get a lot of humidity. We get high temperatures, like up in the hundreds. And if I wear this on my skin, this is the original strobe cream. You kind of have to ignore the tone of it, but you can see it still has that same kind of glow to it. So definitely a tinted version of the Dewy Skin Tint. But like I was saying, is it gets so hot and so humid here, and if I wear this and I'm outside for more than a couple of minutes, and when I say a couple of minutes, I mean walking from like the car to a store and vice versa, it immediately starts to kind of melt off my skin and separate, and it just doesn't stay put. Even if I go in with my One Size Secure the Sweat, which is a holy grail primer for me in the summer if I'm going to be outside a lot, Yes, it keeps the sweat from coming through, but it doesn't keep the heat from breaking this down. So it's almost like it's just not made for it, and I get it, not everything it is. I think this is going to be absolutely beautiful on my skin when it cools off. Our temperatures aren't quite as hot, our humidity comes down just a little bit, but for that reason, I can't put it in as a favorite because I don't think I would repurchase this because I can't wear it year round. I like to have a product that I can wear year round. I can make it work. I can change up my primers and it's going to wear beautifully, but this one just didn't quite hit the mark for that. From Catrice, we have the True Skin Hydrating Foundation. Now this is one that I actually used to love several years ago. Back when my skin was more on the combination side, I had a very oily T-zone and I was more normal around the perimeter, but my skin has changed as I've gotten older, and I also used to self-tan back then. That is a very important factor as to why this foundation is falling where it is, but I wanted to retry it. I did a full face of Catrice, and this was a foundation I remembered loving. I was excited about it, but I just don't love it anymore. It felt very thick and very heavy on my skin, and it has a little bit more coverage than I want. It didn't give me that natural look that I'm craving for, so a lot of this does come down to preference. I think if you have oily skin and you like that more maximum coverage, you would really like this, because I did when my skin was like that and whenever I wore a very heavy foundation. But my other issue with this is the shade range leans very yellow. They don't have any cool tones. This is a neutral one, and it's too much for my skin. I am very cool toned, and I've realized as many times as I have said I can pull off a neutral foundation, I can't. It washes me out. I need that pink undertone in my foundation to give my skin a little bit of life. So for that reason, that's why it's falling here. It's not a bad foundation. It just doesn't go with my skin preferences, my skin tone, and the way that I like to wear my makeup. Also from Catrice, we have the True Skin Concealer, and this is nice, but it's not my favorite. It is hydrating, but it's also very thick, and it can look a little heavy if my eyes aren't in perfect condition. So even if I put my eye cream on underneath, which I do every single time I do my makeup, but if my eyes are maybe just a little bit puffy, a little dehydrated, maybe I didn't get a perfect night's sleep, this doesn't really sit well under my eyes. And if I put powder on top of it and I go a little bit overboard, it looks really cakey. It emphasizes the lines that I have under there, so it doesn't always look beautiful under my eyes. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't, but I think if you have younger skin and you're looking for a really good full coverage concealer that gives a lot of hydration, this is really beautiful and it's affordable. I do really like it. I will use it, but I have to make sure that my under eyes are in pristine condition before I go in with this one. Also from Catrice, we have the Soft Glam Filter Powder. Now this one I like, but I don't like. So I do not like this setting my face. I do not like this under my under eyes, but I like this as a finishing powder. It does have a really nice sheen to it, but I have to make sure that whenever I use it, I'm not going over top of a foundation that is almost too light for my skin, or a foundation that is too, what's the word that I'm looking for? Too yellow leaning. If it's too yellow leaning, I don't know what it does. It kind of mixes in and gives this weird cast to it. And if the foundation that I have on is already too light for my skin and I kind of have to, you know, play with it, put a lot of bronzer on, bring a little bit of life back, this will wash me out as well. So it is a little finicky, which is why I'm putting it here. It does look pretty on the skin as a finishing powder, but it's one of those, like the foundation and the concealer, that you have to make sure that you have the perfect conditions for this one to work. All right, so we have a few bronzers to get through, and the first one is going to be from Xoxo. This is the Palace Identity Blossom Contour. Mine is in the shade Warm Gold, and there's two shades that this one comes in, and this is the darkest of the two. So it is very pretty on the skin. It does build up, not a whole lot. I really have to go in pretty heavy-handed with this one to give me any sort of bronzing to my skin. And while I do like the way that it looks, I like the way that it wears. It is very soft. It's just not a favorite because it takes a lot of work, and the shade range is so bad that I can't recommend this to everybody. So for those two reasons, that's why it's going in there. But if you are interested in this, you're curious about it, you've been wanting to pick it up, and you do have a fair to very fair skin tone, tone, I think you would like it, but anything darker than me, it's just not gonna work for your skin. The next one that I have is another one that I absolutely love, but again, it comes down to the shade range. This is the Just Zemenia bronzer in the shade Luna Bright. And if you look at this one, I don't know if you can see on the camera, but this is actually a two-toned bronzer. This one is just a smidge deeper, not that much. When I first looked at it, I thought it was one just big brick bronzer, but you can see that little bit of line right down the middle. This is beautiful. I love the way this looks on my skin. I love the tone of this. This has a little bit of like a pinky undertone to it. I should have swatched the other one, but that one's really hard to swatch because of the pattern in it. But it has this really pretty, like cool undertone to it, almost like a red shade, and it looks so beautiful on my skin. But again, I think this is the middle shade, and the one that's darker than this isn't super dark. So it's another one that the shade range just doesn't work out. I love the product in here. I love the way that it sits on my skin, but again, I can't recommend this to everybody for that reason. And the last one that we have, this one broke my heart because I ranted and raved about how much I love this one for so long, and it is the Unearthly High Temp Bronzer, and I do. This looks so beautiful on the skin. It looks super glowy in the pan, but once you get it on, it just adds this really pretty sheen to the skin. But y'all, look at that hard pan. Look at that hard pan. And I have done the tape method twice now. I have even scraped off a little bit. You can see that little bit of divot right here. This hard pans every single time I use it, and that's really disappointing. I don't go in with my fingers. I did the very first time I used it, but usually once I do that, it hard pans and I scrape it off and only go in with a brush. I don't experience that again. But it's just made it really hard to reach for, because every time I do, I have to go in and get the tape and take it off and then go in and put it on, and it might even hard pan while I'm applying it. So I'm really disappointed in this. I wanted to love it so bad because I love how beautiful it looks on the skin, and I will absolutely 100% get use out of this. I will put up with it and use it on my skin, but I won't repurchase it because it's just too much of a pain. So if you pick this up and you don't experience that, let me know. Maybe it's just the one that I got, but a little bit disappointing because this is beautiful on the skin and I love the tone of it. All right, from Odin's Eye, we have the Solmane Sunlight Love Blusher. This is in the shade Solar Eclipse, and this is one of the ones that I bought with the original collection. It came shattered. They sent me a new one, and it's absolutely beautiful in the pan. It is split. You have like this pinkier shade, this more peachier shade over here. It looks absolutely beautiful, but this is very shimmery. Not quite as shimmery or glittery, I should say, as the highlighter from the collection, but this is too much to be a blush. It is more of a blush topper, and while it does look very pretty on the skin, again, it's very glittery, and whenever I tried this one on, I actually got a little bit of glitter in my eye. It didn't hurt me, it came out, but I could feel it in there after I put it on. When I was editing the blush video, I could see my eye like blinking, and I was like, oh, everybody's gonna know I got glitter in my eye. But it is very pretty, and I do like the way that it looks, and I think there's definitely a time and place for this, but it's just not a favorite. I wish it was smoother. I wish it was more like the highlighters that I'm sorry, not the highlighters. I keep thinking this is a highlighter. I wish it was more like the shimmering blushes that came in the first collection that they released from the Solmane 1 collection. I wish it was more like that. This is just too much to be a blush, although it is really pretty as a highlighter, but it's just not a favorite of mine. I think if I had to go back, I would have skipped out on this and skipped out on the highlighter, but I do like this one more than the highlighter, but as a highlighter, not a blush. I hope that makes sense. I'm talking a lot of circles over here and I'm starting to even confuse myself, but basically my point is this is very shimmery, not a blush, more of a topper, leaning on highlighter side, but there's a lot of glitter. All right, from Skin by Kim, we have her highlighter. This is in the shade Rose Glow, and this is very pretty. It's a nice highlighter. It's nothing groundbreaking. It has a very pretty, like, soft glow. You can build it up a little bit, and I do like it, but my issue is, again, we've got hard pan. Like, what is up with this? I have only dug my finger in, like, down here, not even up there. That's where I put my brush, and again, we've got hard pan. So as pretty as it is on the skin, It's nothing special. We've got other highlighters out there that look exactly like this. I just can't recommend it because it hard pans, and I don't want to recommend anything that you're going to have to work to use. I want to recommend products that you can just reach into, not have to think of, throw them on your face without a whole lot of effort, a whole lot of thought put into them, things that are going to blend and work well with multiple different things. And when you have products that are hard panning, it's going to make it a little bit more difficult to work with. Whether you use the tape or you scrape it off, it's just going to make it more difficult in the long run. And this wasn't a super cheap highlighter. It wasn't crazy expensive, but when you're getting something from a brand that is any brand really, this isn't even just like a high-end thing. When you're getting a product from any brand, you're giving them your money. I want it to be something that is going to perform. It's not going to hard pan, it's not going to patch, it's not going to skip. It is going to work, and this hard pans, so a little disappointing. Okay, I have one brow product in this, and this one comes down to preference. This is just not a product for me, but it is the e.l.f. Brow Lamination Gel. Now, I have tried this several times, and it does really hold the brows in place. It's a little too much for what I prefer. I like something that has a lot of hold, but it's a little bit more flexible. So if you like that laminated look on your brows and you want them to stay put, you don't want them to move, you want them to freeze, this is really good, but I will warn you, a little bit goes a long way. If you try and build it up, it's going to give you more of like a dandruffy look. It's going to start to flake, and it's going to give a little bit of a cast to the brows if you have darker brows. I don't know if you would have that problem if you have blonde brows or like really light ones, but just based off of the brows that I have, mine aren't super dark. They're more of a medium brown, but I've noticed that this kind of gives me that look, and I don't really like it. So a little bit finicky, but if this is what you're into, it is really nice. It's just not my makeup preference. All right, we've got just a couple of lip products in this category before we move on to the favorites. So up first is the Plumping Lip Liner from Catrice. This is fine. It's okay. It goes on really nicely. It lasts a long time, but it doesn't last all day. And I have a lot of liners in my collection that will last all day. When everything has worn off, I still have a nice liner on my lips, and that's what I want. But if you don't mind one that you have to reapply, this is really nice. It doesn't go on super stiff. It glides on beautifully. It's very comfortable. It does have a really good shade range, but for my preferences, I want one that I don't have to reapply. I don't like to reapply my lip products throughout the day. Generally, I do a lip liner, a gloss, I throw the gloss in my purse, and that's kind of my reapply throughout the day. So I want a liner that is going to last and hold up to eating, drinking, laughing, talking, the whole 9 yards, and this one just doesn't do it. It's not bad, you just have to reapply it. The next one is also from Catrice. This is the Melt and Shine Juicy Lip Balm, and this is okay. It wasn't horrible, but it wasn't great. It's one of those clicky ones, you have to click it up, and it's not quite as glowy and creamy as the other ones that we've seen from Tarte, e.l.f., NYX. I mean, I could go on and on and on with the people have done it. It is more of a balm formula, but it's a little bit on the waxy side. So I don't like the feeling of a true waxy formula. So while it does look nice and it sits nice, you start to feel that waxiness once you start to reapply it. So you think it's gone, you think you need to add more, and you go to put more on, and you can feel like this waxy buildup on your lips. And it's not horrible, but I just don't like the feeling of that. I don't like the way it feels. It is hydrating. I like the wash of color that it has. It is super affordable. And if you don't mind that, this is it. But this is giving me lip smackers in a clicky tube with a little bit of tint. All right, the last lip product in this category is the lip gloss from Unearthly that came in her early Halloween mini mystery box. This is in the shade Dread. Formula is beautiful. Absolutely love the formula. I love the Unearthly lip gloss formula. It's comfortable, it's hydrating, it lasts, it looks beautiful on the lips. But for me, this comes down to a preference thing. I'm not into something that is super glowy and like glittery and flippy on my lips. It's just not what I'm going for. I prefer to have all of my glow, glitter, flip, all of that to be on my eyes. So while this is very pretty, it comes down to the fact that it's just not what I'm into. And that's always my issue with Unearthly mystery boxes, is she likes to have lip colors that are not what I'm comfortable with. Lots of other people are. That is perfectly fine. You do you. There is no shame in loving a green, blue, black, purple, whatever lip, but me, it's not what I want. So this comes down to my preferences. So again, if this is what you like in your lip products, this is a really good formula. I don't think you can buy this separately, but if you did get the mystery box, you're gonna get it. It's nice. Just keep in mind, it's got that like total shift to it. It's not gritty or anything like that, but it is a little bit more than what I want. All right, let's jump into the final category, which is the products that I have been loving. Up first, we have the Too Faced Born This Way Soft Matte Oil Control Foundation. Y'all, this is beautiful. I love it. My first impression, I wasn't really impressed with it. It caked up around my nose. It sunk into the lines on my forehead. I wasn't a fan, but I quickly discovered my mistake was setting it with powder. Not just the powder I used in that video, but any powder. Even my Holy Grail Hourglass powder that has a little bit of a sheen to it. This works beautiful on my skin without any powder. It sets down to a really nice finish. It doesn't go anywhere. It doesn't cake. It doesn't crease. It doesn't melt off of my skin in our hot, humid weather down here in Texas. I absolutely love this. It looks so natural on my skin, but if I apply it with a brush, I can get a little bit more coverage, and I'm not a big fan of that. I definitely like this one with a sponge. But let me ask you this, who remembers the Too Faced Peach Perfect foundation? It came in a tube. It was a soft matte foundation. It was white with the peaches on it. It smelled like peaches. I remember it. I remember it because it was my absolute favorite, and I was heartbroken when Too Faced discontinued it. This, I think, is the same thing. Just redone, new name, no fragrance. This gives me all of those vibes, and I absolutely love this. This may be one of my new favorite foundations. It's definitely my favorite foundation from Too Faced for sure. I really like this. I think a lot of people are going to like this. I don't know if you have super dry skin if you're going to, but definitely if you have combination or oily skin, this is beautiful. It is very mattifying. I don't know about the oil control, but I have watched videos of other people with oily skin. Absolutely love this one as well, but it's also hydrating. So for me, this is a winner. I've really been enjoying it, and I'm excited about this one. All right, so we have a color corrector from Catrice. This is the Under Eye Brightener Instant Awake in the shade Light Rose. This is so good. One, this is nice and light, nice and pink. It looks beautiful on my fair, cool tone skin. I love a color corrector, but my issue is a lot of them that are on the pinky side or the peachy side, they're a little bit too dark and they don't add the brightness that I want. And this one does that. It is nice and creamy, but it's not too creamy. It's not going to like move everything that I put on over top of it. I like to use this in place of my eye cream. It's kind of a 2-for-1. It definitely reminds me of the Becca Under Eye Corrector, but honestly, I think this one's a little bit creamier and a little bit nicer, and it is definitely way more affordable. I absolutely love that one. Then from Danessa Myricks, we have the Yummy Skin Lift and Flex Concealer. This is beautiful. This is a little bit too light for me, but I like the way that this wears under my eyes. It is lightweight, it is creamy, it is hydrating, it looks beautiful. A little bit goes a long way, but if you put on a little bit too much, it doesn't start to cake, grab, or separate or do anything weird. It looks beautiful on its own and powdered, and I have really been enjoying this, but I do like the Yummy Skin line from Danessa Myricks. Up next from Tarte, we have the Creaseless Corrector. I do have the one in green as well, but I want to test that one out a little bit more before I really kind of get my full thoughts together on it. But the one in Peachy Pink, I have really been enjoying. This is a little bit too dark for me on its own, so I do need to pair it with a concealer over top. But my favorite way to wear this one has been kind of cocktailing it with a concealer that I have that leans just a little bit too neutral, or maybe I need just a little bit more of that pinky tone in it to go with my skin tone and give me the look that I want under my eyes. This is so lightweight. It is very creamy. A little bit goes a long way, but I also feel like you can't really go too overboard either. Obviously, if you slathered the whole tube on, you could, but it's one of those that you don't have to be super careful with how much product you use. And I really like the applicator on this as well. I wasn't too sure about the brush tip, but it is very precise. You can get little amounts where you want it. You can kind of smear it a little bit easier as well. And of all the concealers that I have used this with, which I don't know how many exactly, but it has been several of my holy grail concealers, it blends with all of them very nicely. If I have one that leans a little bit too matte under my eyes, this adds just a little bit of hydration to it. This has been a really good mix-in and I've really been enjoying it. But then I also have the Creaseless Creamy Concealer from Tarte as well, and I like this as well. I actually have both of these on under my eyes. This looks beautiful. A little bit goes a long way. It is very hydrating, very thin, very lightweight. It does have a good medium coverage to it. I don't find it to be buildable, but I'm okay with that. I like a light to medium coverage under my eyes as well, and this is really beautiful. I've been enjoying it. I haven't noticed that it creases under my eyes. I do need to set it with powder just because I feel like it can settle in like this one little spot that I have right here just under my lower lash line. It can kind of settle in there a little bit if I don't set it, but it looks beautiful. I haven't had any issues with either of these. They cocktail together nicely. This one wears really beautifully on its own as well. I prefer to cocktail it with this because this is just a tiny bit too neutral for me, but it's not so neutral that I can't get away with it. But I do really enjoy this one. These are absolutely beautiful. Huge step up from their last creaseless concealer that the brand had, and I like that one so much better than the Shape Tape. The Shape Tape is just too heavy, too thick, no matter which formulation it's in. That's my winner from Tarte. From Polite Society, we have the More Than a Pretty powder. This is really good. I was surprised how much I liked this. I thought it was going to be a little too mattifying for my skin. It is definitely pore blurring. It is talc free, and it just lays beautifully on the skin. I have it on today. While it does take down some of the shine that I have in my more like luminous and dewy foundations, it doesn't look cakey. It doesn't look heavy. It is very finely milled. It is very soft and silky to the touch. I have the shade in Universal Translucent, and I have really been loving this. It doesn't alter the shade of my foundation. It doesn't move anything. It even looks beautiful under the eyes. I have it on under my eyes as well today. Like I said, it is very lightweight, very silky. I would love to try out the pink shade. I think they only have 3 shades in this. I would love a shade expansion, but the packaging is really nice. It does have a really nice sifter in it. It doesn't come with a puff or anything like that. You can actually see the shade of the translucent. It does have a little bit of something to it, but once you get it on, like I said, it doesn't alter anything. But this is really nice. Absolutely love this one. All right, let's move on to bronzers. So up first we have the Lancome Idole Skin Transforming Bronzer. This is beautiful. I loved it the minute I tried it. It melts into the skin. It is so silky, so smooth. I love the color in here. It is lightly pigmented, but it's definitely buildable. It never looks patchy or skippy. It doesn't have an orange undertone to it. The shade range is really nice. It could go a little bit darker, but it's not a horrible shade range. You definitely have more choices. It's definitely going to hit across more skin tones, but I do understand and recognize it's not going to hit every single skin tone. I wish more brands would really start to get super dark with their bronzers and realize that everybody wants to have that contrast, that bronzing effect to their skin. But this one is beautiful. I absolutely love it. The packaging is a little bit cheap, but it's still a really nice bronzer. I've enjoyed playing with it, and I love the way that it looks on my skin. It is very blurring as well. And then the next one that we have is from Catrice. This is the Holiday Skin Bronze and Glow palette. This one is supposed to be, where did I put it? I brought it out. This is supposed to be, oh, it's right here, right in front of my face. Hello. This is supposed to be a dupe for the Charlotte Tilbury Hollywood Film Star Bronze and Glow. I can never remember the name of it. And this is very on point. There are a little bit of differences, but formula wise and vibe wise, it's definitely very, very close. So I'm going to swatch this one out for you because the bronzer in the Catrice is just a little bit deeper and a little bit more on like the true neutral side, but it still looks very pretty on my skin. That is a very heavy swatch because I want you to be able to see it. It does go on very lightly. It blends out nicely. It builds up nicely, but I want to show you the difference of the shades. But this is the highlighter with it, and the highlighter is very beautiful, very beaming, nice and soft, creamy. It looks beautiful on the skin as well. But let me show you what the Charlotte Tilbury looks like because there is a little bit of a difference to it. I know that she has a bigger version of this as well, and I think that one comes in another shade, but the mini one does not, and this is not going to work for everybody. But let me swatch the bronzer in the Charlotte Tilbury one real quick so you can see what I'm talking about. So that is the Charlotte Tilbury. So you see how it's a lot lighter and it has more of that red undertone to it. If this is too light for you, this is a really good alternative. While I can use both for my fair skin, this one is going to give you a little bit more color. And then the highlighter in the Charlotte Tilbury is very, very similar to the one in the Catrice. The one in the Catrice has a little bit more of a gold base to it, while this one has a little bit more of like that champagne-y base to it, but still very close, very similar. This is a fantastic alternative to this one, and I really do love it, especially if I want a little bit more of a bronze to my skin than this one. Fantastic product. Absolutely love it. All right, let's move on to blushes. We have quite a few to get to, and it's been quite a year for blushes. We already know that, but these are the ones I have really, really been loving as of late that I have already finished testing. Up first, we have the Pocket Blushes from Rhode. These blew my socks off. I had low expectations from them. I didn't expect much from them. I just thought it was another celebrity brand out there giving us mediocre products, but these are so good. They are creamy, they are blendable, they are effortless when you put them on. You don't have to worry about going in over or under powder products. No matter which way you do it, they just blend out very easy. It doesn't take a lot of effort. They just look beautiful on the skin. They dry down to where they don't have a tack to them, but they leave a really pretty sheen on the skin. I love the color range. These are a little bit more on the affordable side. They're not super affordable. I think they're like $24 a piece. So they're a little bit more than drugstore, but drugstore is getting up there. Those are like $15, $16, even $17 a piece. But this is just such a beautiful formula. It's one that I don't have to think about. I can just grab it, put it on. I don't have to worry about if I put too much. I don't have to worry about it drying down super fast. Very user-friendly, great for all skin ages, skin types, the whole 9 yards. These are beautiful, and the rest of my colors showed up, so I'm really excited to be working on that video, but I love those. Fantastic release from the brand. Up next from Hourglass, we have their Unreal Liquid Blushes. And again, this is another formula I have really been enjoying so much that I picked up more shades as well. But I stopped at the 4 because these are more unique in my collection, and these are a little bit on the pricier side. Hourglass is a luxury brand, but these are so, so good. Again, they are nice and pigmented, but they also sheer out beautifully. They have a really good, like easy, effortless application to them. The tiniest little bit goes a long way. Like that one little dot is going to work perfectly, but again, the darker you go, the more pigmented it's going to be. But these just sheer out on the skin so beautifully. Like look at how that just sheared out to this really pretty berry toned blush. I love the sheen that these leave on the skin. These work very nicely over and under powder products, and I just love it. I think it's a fantastic formula. I know it's on the pricier side, but when it comes to a liquid blush, this one I feel like is a little bit unique, and it has that little bit of extra something to it. I don't know what it is, but every time I use these, I love the way that my blush looks. All right, the last one that we have in like the cream liquid category is the Haus Labs, what are these called? The Color Fuse Glassy Blush Bombs. These are so good. If you have super oily skin, this might be a little too much for you. It does have a little bit of a balmy effect. Like you can see it right there. You can see that shine to it, but these dry down not to a full-on matte, but they don't leave your skin feeling sticky. Your hair is not gonna stick to it. These blend out absolutely beautifully. I was really impressed with this formula as well. I don't know if I like these quite as much as the Rhode ones. I think if I had to choose one, I would go for the Rhode, but these have colors that are very unique that the ones from Rhode don't have. So for that reason, as much as I love the ones from Rhode, this kind of fills in that gap with shades. Like there's a really pretty like cool toned pink shade that I want, like that really popular cool toned pink, you know what I'm talking about, that's almost lavender. Haus Labs has one of those, and I really want to pick that one up, but these are beautiful. I absolutely love the formula. All three of these are new favorites in my collection as far as creams and liquids go, and I really want to have all the shades, but I know that's a little ridiculous. But let's go ahead and move on to powders, because we do have a couple of powder blushes to talk about. The first one is the Oden's Eye Solmane Sunlight Love Blusher. This is in the shade Pink Bloom. I do have two of the matte ones from the original collection. Absolutely love those, and this one didn't disappoint. It is beautiful. I love the shade on here. I love the pigmentation on here. I love how they blend out, they build up. They just look very beautiful. Again, they're an effortless formula. Most powders are, but you do find the ones that are a little bit tricky to work with. They can patch, they don't build up on their own. They don't give a nice blurring effect to the skin. This one does all of that. I like the pan size, I like the embossing, I like the packaging. This is just a really good matte blush formula. I know it's really hard to find a standout formula when it comes to powders, and these aren't by any means standouts, but I do think they're very beautiful, and I think it's worth the price point, and it's something special in your collection. Absolutely love it. And then the last one that we have is from Catrice. This is the Air Blush Matte. They do have a more glowy one that I want to pick up and try, but this is really nice. This is a basic blush formula. It's nothing special, it's nothing groundbreaking, but it performs like a lot of the ones that I have from high-end and luxury brands, and this is super affordable. It's only a few bucks. I like the shade range. It's not the most pigmented right off the bat, but it's definitely buildable. This is really good. I'm impressed with it. I would love to have more shades of this. If you are looking for a really good matte blush that's just gonna look beautiful on the cheek, it's going to blur, it's gonna do everything that this one does, honestly, at a fraction of the price point, these are fantastic. From L'Oreal, we have the Infallible Fresh Wear Highlighter Illuminator. This one is in the shade Icy Cold, and this is so beautiful. It is more on like that white base side, but it has just a little bit of a gold flip to it, that it's not too icy and it doesn't leave like a stark streak on the skin. This is beautiful. It feels nice and creamy, nice and smooth. It doesn't have glitter to it or anything like that. And honestly, if you gave this to me in just the pan, it didn't have the packaging or anything, I would think this is a high-end highlighter. Absolutely beautiful. It is beaming, but you can also sheer it out, go in with a light hand, and get a little bit more of a lit from within glow. This is a really nice highlighter. I'm wildly impressed. It is a little bit more expensive for a drugstore brand. I think this is like $14.99, $15.99, something like that, but it's still less expensive than what you're gonna get from Sephora or that other side of Ulta, the high-end luxury, all of that, without sacrificing the quality. This is beautiful. And then another one that I really love, and I kind of feel the same way about, I have all the nice things to say about it, is the Catrice More Than a Glow highlighter. This is absolutely beautiful. I love the embossing in here. I love the shine in here. This one has more of a pinky glow to it, but again, this looks so beautiful on the skin. I will say this is just a little bit smoother than the one from L'Oreal, but look at how gorgeous it is. So this is the one from L'Oreal and this is the one from Catrice. These are both absolutely beautiful. Again, give me either one of these without the packaging, just the pan. I would never know that these are affordable. This one is under 10 bucks. I can't remember exactly how much it is, and you would never know that. Absolutely beautiful. Love both of these highlighters. These are new favorites in my collection. They only have two of the L'Oreal. I would love to see a bigger shade range in this one so I could pick up more. And then this is the only one that they had in this one, so I would love more shades of this one as well. And if they came out with them, I would 100% pick them up. But they do both have a little bit of a translucent base. It's not completely translucent, but it's close enough that I think it'll work for a lot of different skin tones. I think if you have a really dark skin tone, this might start to look a little bit stark, but I think this one could look really pretty on it. But absolutely beautiful. I am blown away by both of those, and they're both from affordable brands. All right, for brows, we have the NYX Powder Louder Brow Pencil. This is in the shade Ash Brown. It's the one that I'm actually wearing in my brows today. Yes, my brows are tattooed on. If you're new here, I do have them microbladed, but I still have like a little bit of sparse spots that I need to fill in, especially when they start to fade, because it doesn't last forever, and I really have been enjoying this. This is exactly what you think it's gonna be. It is a powder and a pencil form. It is very forgiving, very easy to work with. You can press a little bit harder, get a little bit more pigmentation. You can go in very light-handed and just add like the lightest little strokes to the brow. I find this to be very user-friendly, very easy. If you make a mistake, it just kind of fluffs away with the spoolie side of it, or you can use another brush. You don't have to worry about wiping off your makeup, starting over, trying to shear it out or anything like that. I have really been enjoying this. The only thing I wish it had, and it's not enough to keep me from recommending it or to keep me from repurchasing it, I wish this was a little bit finer of a tip. That's my only thing. I have really been enjoying a pencil that's like super micro tipped and fine lately, and I just wish this had that. If it did, this would be like the perfect brow product, but this is beautiful. I do really enjoy it, and it's affordable yet again. All right, from Lancome, we have the Idol Ultra Precise Waterproof Liner. This is the brown one in the shade Matte Syrup Brown. I do have it on my eyes today. Like I said, I have a lot of these products on. This I have really been enjoying. I have been loving like brown liners, brown mascara, brown liquid liners, all of that lately. And that was part of the reason I picked this one up, is because I was looking for a really nice brown liquid liner from a formula that I hadn't tried before either. And I like this. It goes on very nicely. I like the shade of it. I like the tip of it. It is precise. Of course, it's not going to give you as deep of a line because it is a brown shade. I'm sure there's darker browns out there. I would love to pick one of those up and try it, but this is very pretty. It's very easy to work with. It's pigmented. I don't have a hard time. I don't have to press. It doesn't skip. It doesn't dry out. The tip is still really nice. This is a felt tip. It's a felt tip liner, and I haven't had any issues with it. It holds up on my watery eyes very nicely. It doesn't run, it doesn't budge, it stays in place all day, but it also comes off easily at night whenever I use a makeup remover. So this one is a winner, and it's also not as expensive as you would think it would be from Lancome. Yes, there are more affordable ones out there, but when you're getting into like Urban Decay and all of that, this is about the same price. All right, let's run through some lip products really fast and then we are done. So up first, we have this lip liner from Lancome. This is the one that I have on my lips today. This is the Idol Lip Shaper. This is in the shade Mahogany Mauve. I do really like this shade. It is deeper. It is something that I'm really going to love more in the fall and cooler months, but I'm loving the way this looks today. This is really nice. It is creamy when it goes on. You have a little bit of work time, so you can go in and kind of smudge it with your finger, but it lasts all day. I don't find that this comes off. I don't find that it patches after I eat. It leaves a nice line. It does fade a little bit, but it doesn't fade patchy and it doesn't completely go away, and I don't feel like I need to reapply it. I like the shade range of these. I do think they have a wide shade range, and I'm really impressed with this one, but I have said before, it doesn't take much to impress me with a lip product. As long as you're gonna do what I want you to do and you perform the way I expect you to perform, I'm a happy camper. This does all of that. I really enjoy it. Up next from Lancome, we also have what is this called? The Butter Glow Lip Balm. This is really nice. This is along the lines of all the other ones that we've seen from, what is it, Tarte, e.l.f., NYX, Makeup by Mario, YSL, all of those. I could go on and on and on. This is along those lines, but this isn't quite as thick and gloopy as those. While I do appreciate that look, sometimes you want something a little bit thinner that's still nice and balmy, nice and glossy, and still nice and hydrating, but without being super thick and heavy on the lips. And this is beautiful. I have really been enjoying this one. I don't have it on my lips today. This is in the shade, I think it's like nude or natural or new nude or something like that. It's number 36. I can't remember the exact name of it, but this is really nice. I've been enjoying it. I like the formula of it. It is comfortable on the lips. It doesn't last all day, but the moisturizing part of it lasts all day. Absolutely beautiful. From Medusa's Makeup, I got this in my July Ice Cream Beauty box. This is I think it's just a tinted lip balm is what it's called. This is in the shade Social, and this is really, really nice. This is balmy without being waxy. It's nice and hydrating on the lips, and it adds just like this perfect little bit of tint to the lips. It's not going to give you a full-on opacity. It's not going to do anything like the one from Lancome or the other ones that I've mentioned a million times. But if you just want a little bit of flush to the lips, like your lips but better, this one is really nice. I have really been enjoying it. I'm so glad that I got to try it. It's opened up a whole new brand to me because I had never heard of them before, but I kind of peeked into their website and their Instagram, and they do have some really neat, interesting products that I would like to try. But this one is really good. I've been enjoying that one. And also on the same kind of lines as far as hydrating, moisture, lip balms, things like that go. From Rhode Beauty, we have the Peptide Lip Tints. I have 3 different shades, yes, because I picked up one and then got 2 more because I absolutely love this. I think I love this more than the Summer Fridays Butter Balm. That was a holy grail. I have like 3 or 4 of those. They're usually scattered throughout in my purse. But those have slowly been making their way out, and I had to dig all of these out of my purse. One was in my car, one was like out in the living room. I love these. They are so hydrating, so comfortable. They leave a really pretty shine on the lips. They are pigmented, but it's just like a nice wash of color. There's a really good array of these, and they're comfortable and they feel good on the lips. I've really been enjoying these. The hype is real with this brand, y'all. Like, I am really impressed. It makes me want to try her skincare, see what that is like, and it also makes me excited for what else she's cooking up and what she's going to come out with us in the future. And we have made it to our last product of the video, and this one is going to come to us from Skin by Kim. This is her lip gloss that she recently came out with, and I have really been enjoying this one. Her products have been a little hit or miss for me. Some are better than others, but this one I really like. I think this may be my favorite product that she has released thus far. It's just a really good gloss formula. It's not thick, it's not gloopy, it's not sticky, it doesn't do the stringy thing. It's not gonna have a plumping, tingling, cooling effect, anything like that. But it is very comfortable, very hydrating, nice and thin on the lips. It has a good color payoff to it. It's not fully opaque, but it's also not super thin and lightly there. It just looks beautiful on the lips. It is very comfortable. I like the doe foot applicator. I like the nice acrylic packaging, and it's a beautiful formula. I also like that she came out with a ton of neutral leaning shades. That's what I look for in a gloss. There is a time and place that I like a gloss that has maybe like a pink or a red to it, something like that, but generally I'm gonna go for something that's more on the neutral side or something that is clear, just flat. It's not matte, it's not shimmery, it's not sparkly, it is just a really pretty color, and this checks off all of the boxes for me. Alright y'all, so that is going to complete this video. I hope y'all enjoyed it and I hope you find it super helpful. I always like to do these videos in hopes that they're going to help you with your future buying decisions, whether it's something you pass on, whether it's something you pick up. I just hope that this kind of helps you and gives you a little bit of insight into these products. But let me know all of your thoughts. Did you pick up any of these? Did some of these hit a little bit different for you? What have been some of your favorite products lately, or what has been a product that you picked up that you were sorely disappointed in? I want to know it all. Let's have that conversation. Light up that comment section, and as usual, I want to thank you all so much for watching my video and spending your time with me. It truly does mean so much to me, and if you like this video, make sure you give it a big thumbs up before you leave. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and click on that notification bell so that you can be notified of all my future posts here on my channel. I do post quite a few videos every single week, and I wouldn't want you to miss one. But until my next video, have a good one. Bye.